Yesterday, for the first time since leaving the Clippers for the Lakers, the reigning sixth man of the year said joining the Lakers was a, quote, business decision. And when he was asked if the Clippers wanted him back, he replied, obviously, it doesn't seem that way, does it? Shannon, what does this tell you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that maybe the Clippers, Trez didn't feel like the Clippers made him a priority. He's like, I'm the sixth man of the year, and here we are a couple of days into it. You would like to think, Skip, they probably had been having conversations with Rich Paul at some point in time, and says, okay, yes, we want to bring him back. This is what we're looking to this is what we're looking, the range that we're looking to pay. What are you looking for? Maybe Trez's personality, Skip. When you come up like Trez wasn't I don't even know if he was drafted, but when you come up like he did, scrapping and trying to fight, play hard, practice hard every single game. You bring Kawhi and Paul George in there, and he's out there practicing on the court, and those guys are sitting on the sideline, or those guys are missing games. That's going to rub him the wrong way. And it looks to me from the outside, and like I said, I don't know, it looks like from the outside looking in, Skip, that's not going to change. Kawhi and Paul George, those are superstars. Moving forward, they're probably going to take practices off. They're probably going to take games off. And it was easier to let Trez go via free agency as opposed to have that conflict and to run it back. So that's what it looks like to me, Skip. Now, I could be totally off basis with this, but it seems to me, because we heard rumblings after the season, they were upset that guys missing was practicing when they wanted to, guys playing when they wanted to, and that rubbed some in the locker room. If I had to guess, it would probably be Trez that would be rubbed the wrong way. And so, Skip, but this is a good deal for Trez. And if you look at it, Skip, Trez, Serge Ibaka, and Double T basically got the same deal. The mid-level exception with a second-year option, whether it's a team or a player option. That's what they got. Shooters got the money. Bertans, look what he got. Bogdan from Sacramento, he signed that big offer sheet. The big, Skip, really didn't get the money because they're not shooting. They're putting a premium on shooting the threes. And so, Skip, I like the Lakers getting Trez because I believe they're getting a guy that's extremely motivated. He didn't play his best basketball when the season resumed. Let's not sugarcoat that. There's facts, Skip. He didn't play once he got to the bubble, and maybe his grandmother, he had a lot on his mind. He didn't come back with the same ferocity that he had when he left, because up until that point, Skip, he was a monster. And when he came back, he wasn't that. But it didn't feel like, to him, because it all that matters to him, he didn't feel like the Clippers prioritized him, or they didn't give him the indication that they wanted him back as much as he thought he should have been wanted back. So he says, okay, I'll make a business decision. They got this over there. I won't, like you said, Rondo, he wasn't going to have to move. He went to the Clippers. Trez says, hey, I ain't got to move. Well, he might have to now because one's in Playa Vista and the other's in the El Segundo. So he might go on down there to the marina, which is nicer than Playa anyway, but it's close by.
So when I read this story yesterday, I must admit I laughed and laughed and laughed some more because I had to put up with your gloating for 2.5 hours.
What I go about?
We got Trez. We stole him from the Clippers. No, you didn't steal him from the Clippers. The Clippers didn't want him back. And I'm going to go one more step than you went. It wasn't like they were negotiating or the money wasn't right. I believe from all I've read and heard, they just didn't want him, period.
Yes.
They knew they had a great shot at Serge Ibaka, and they decided that Serge was an upgrade over Montrezl Harrell on the court and especially in the locker room. Because what do we know about Serge? Well, he's coming off a breakout year, his career year. It wasn't a breakout year, but a career year in Toronto, averaging 15 and 8, shooting 39% in the regular season from 3. So he's a floor spacer. They want to be able to space the floor more. Montrez doesn't, he doesn't shoot threes.
Right.
Okay, so what do we know about Serge and Kawhi? Well, Serge has a little YouTube show called How Hungry Are You? And the first time I ever saw Kawhi Leonard speak publicly, the first time after all those years, I loved him. He's my favorite player in San Antonio. He never spoke. No. He wouldn't speak after games, even to the local TV network in San Antonio. He would not speak.
Oh, when he did speak, it was like pulling teeth.
You just got nothing. But he never did an appearance anywhere. And early on in his Toronto run, he agreed to go on How Hungry Are You with Serge, and it's in the kitchen. They're cooking, eating, I don't know. And he's like ribbing him, you know, like prodding him.
Right.
What about this? You know, what about your personal life? What about your private life? And he could get away with it because he's Serge and they're buddies.
Right.
And then the classic video of Kawhi Leonard in the back of a limo during the free agency period was, "What'd it do, baby?" Well, guess who shot that? Serge.
Right.
Serge is right there with him, and Serge was the one who posted it.
Right.
So I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to assume that Serge and Kawhi, pretty good friends, maybe very close. And so if Kawhi does,
as close as someone can get to Kawhi.
That is correct. So if Kawhi has the kind of pull that I think he does, it may not be LeBron-esque, but it's up in the ballpark, well, then I would think he would push for, hey, we got a chance to bring in a really good guy that everybody will like, and he can actually shoot. And it sounds like they just said, good, we're out on Montrez.
I believe the second part of what you said, because Serge and Kawhi Leonard's personality will mesh better in the locker room, that wasn't going away. Kawhi's probably going to miss practice time, Skip. He's probably, what'd you say, 13, 14 back-to-backs? He's probably going to miss some games. So that's not going to, Serge is used to that, because guess what? Serge saw it up close and personal in Toronto. So that's not going to bother him.
Nope.
That was going to, if it bothered Trez last year, it was going to bother him again this year. And Skip, the thing is that Kawhi's personality is fine as long as you're winning. When you don't win, it's not good enough to say, I'm just doing my job. You're going to have to be the voice to hold people accountable. And that's not him. Kawhi, the type of guy, Skip, just from observing him, I'm going to go do my job. You do your job. When things are not going well, Skip, you're going to need somebody, hey, we need to have a team meeting. Hey, bro, look here.
All right.
That's not him.
I got it. So to your point, Montrez and Lou Williams had been there for 2 years. They were the heart and soul of the Clippers. And all of a sudden, here come two premier free agents, Kawhi, Paul George. Wait a second. And remember, all the way back to January, Montrez was the first one to speak out and call out the team for lack of effort.
Right.
And it seemed to be centered maybe on the newcomers, right?
Yes.
And that didn't probably go over too well in the locker room.
Right.
And then there was a clash, according to our man Chris Haynes on Yahoo, that during Game 2 of the Denver series, that they got into it. Montrez and Paul George got into it, and it was back and forth about what was the line. Trez, according to Chris, said, "You're always right. Nobody can ever tell you differently." And they had very heated words, profane words. And I'm sure somebody upstairs, going all the way up to Mr. Ballmer, said, "This is not acceptable." Right? So when Montrez became a defensive liability, especially against the Denver Nuggets, I think they just sat back and said, okay, enough is enough. I know he's the sixth man of the year, but we have a chance to maybe even upgrade, certainly in fit, in unity fit with Serge Ibaka.
I can't wait to see Serge try to bang down with Yoke on the block. I mean, that's going to be very interesting.
Okay. Well,
because ain't no shame in getting tore up by Yoke, because Yoke's the real deal.
Well, Yoke tore up Montrez because in the minutes he was in, it was just a mismatch.
Guess what? He going to tear up Serge Ibaka, too.
Okay. Well, I like Serge's chances at 7 feet over Montrez's chances at, I don't know what he is, 6'6" or 7.
Skip, he ain't got enough bricks in his back pocket. But like you said, because of what Trez's outspokenness, and it's when you got superstar, Skip, it's kind of hard to get one of those guys because, first of all, Skip, you know, they signed 2-and-1s. So after this year, they're free. They can go, but they got player options. And you can let Trez go and be okay. You let one of these guys go, you're not getting back the compensation, or it'll ruin your team. Because you got to think about it now. You want to keep Kawhi and Paul George so they can be going to that new building. Now, whenever that's going to be up, they get, you know, they closed on the old farm. But you keep saying they didn't want Trez. They didn't want Trez. They wanted Serge Ibaka. So did they choose not to sign Rondo, or he chose to go?